Hey everyone, Ann Stewart here with Erica Hagfors, team member of Stewart Group Real Estate, and Andy Varsack of Newland Mortgage, one of our preferred lender partners. And we thought it would be really important to kind of break down what is a interest rate buy down. Since interest rates have gone up, a lot of people are naturally inquiring about what exactly is an interest rate buy down. We're starting to see it being advertised more. So we thought we'd kind of break it down. What is it? Make it really conceptually understandable for in layman's terms. So we brought on Andy to talk a little bit about like when he talks to a new buyer about getting pre-approved, that's always the conversation, right? Andy, you're bringing it up like what's an interest rate buy down? So technically speaking, what is an interest rate buy down?
Thanks, Ann. Great question. So really, it's just a trade-off between the interest rate and the points or the discount fee. And when shopping for a loan, it's really important you look at both of those numbers because really you can't have one without the other. So let's say, for example, that I quoted someone 7% today, and they said, "Well, I don't want 7%. I want 6.5." So I'd say, "Okay, fine. You can have 6.5, but you're going to pay additional discount points to get it." And so what rate makes sense depends on how long your tenant be in the property. Say, for example, that, I offered that 7%, you want 6.5, and that's going to save you $50 a month, but you're going to pay $3,000 for the privilege of saving $50 a month. Now, in the long run, you'll absolutely come out ahead, but that $3,000 is a sunk cost. So what we do is look at a break even, and we take that $3,000 cost, we divide it by the $50 a month savings, and we get a 60-month break even point. So the question is, if someone's absolutely sure that they're going to be in the loan for more than 5 years, then yeah, they'll come out ahead with the lower rate. But if they're not sure, they do want to go with the higher rate. So it's always important to look at that trade-off between the rate and the points to determine which is the best pricing to meet someone's needs.
Okay, great. So yeah, so you're paying points down to get the interest rate down, which increases your closing costs in effect, which is why when we talk about interest rate buy downs, we're talking about asking in a lot of cases for the seller to pay credits towards interest rate buy down. So I saw an advertisement the other day on a listing that went on the market that said sellers willing to pay $10,000 towards buyers' closing costs and towards an interest rate buy down. Now, closing costs are all clumped together, right, Andy? It's like you've got your, title and escrow fees, your loan fees, all that stuff. But when we talk about points specifically, which is what buys the rate down, if somebody today said, okay, I've got a 7% interest rate on the open market and I want to get it down to 6.5%, how much exactly is that going to cost them for that rate buy down?
Great question. And it's all a function of the size of the loan amount because it's all percentages.
Got it.
Right. And there's no set breakdown. So it's not like, a 1% fee buys down the rate a quarter point. If you look at pricing grids, they change day to day, and there tends to be a sweet spot. So a lot of times what lenders will do is quote at that sweet spot. But again, you need to take that extra step and look at the full pricing grid to figure out where the best option is to meet a buyer's needs.
Okay, great. So just for the sake of like giving a real life example, like if somebody's buying at, let's say, so the average house in Portland right now is right around $600,000, give or take. So if somebody's buying a house at $600,000 and they may not have a full 20% down for a hypothetical, like let's say they're doing 10% down, right? And they want to get their interest rate from like 7% to 6.5% for just the purposes of an example. What average range of like credit would they need to come up with, whether from a seller's perspective, giving a credit or themselves? Like, what is an average range? Not holding any type of thing, because it sounds like it's very variable.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I can tell you, to buy down a rate from 6.99 down to 6.49. So buying a rate down a half a point would cost roughly $7,000.
Okay.
But to pay $7,000, you would then save yourself, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the numbers here, about $160 a month.
Got it.
So you just divide those two numbers and it comes up with that break even point. to determine, hey, if you're going to have the loan longer than that, you'll come out ahead. If not, don't pay it. But again, once you pay that $6,000-7,000, it's a sunk cost. You're not getting the money back.
Okay, so for just the kind of lay it out there, basically there's always a cost and a timeline where that cost comes back to you and you break even or not. So there's a dollar's a dollar, basically. Like if you're going to save, you're going to pay the money over here, you're probably saving it, or, you know, yeah, on either side. So closing cost credit are becoming, or how often are you seeing, Andy, closing cost credits or point buy downs becoming, how popular are they right now as you're kind of getting buyers?
Great question. We're seeing them more and more. I mean, definitely 6 months ago, we hardly ever saw them. You know, now we're probably seeing them on a third of the transactions. Okay. And and whether it's used for a buy down or to pay closing costs or taxes or insurance or whatever, you know, and to your point, a dollar's a dollar, right? So you do a seller credit, you know, you can easily reduce your out-of-pocket expense for purchasing a home by about $10,000. So, you know, we can have the seller pay $10,000 in closing costs and prepaid expenses. So then you're financing in, you know, the costs are still there. It's just a trick to be able to finance it into the loan, but a great way to be able to reduce your out-of-pocket expense by $10,000.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think that really sums up what a buy down is, and interesting to see what you know, a third of the buyers out here are starting to use them. So they're becoming more and more common. We wanted to be able to put it out there in terms of like just what is a buy down, how does it apply, and just to really be transparent about a dollar's a dollar and where do the dollars go and how does it benefit someone, or what they should be aware of in terms of the time factor if they're going to take advantage of it. So great. Okay. Well, thank you so much, you guys.